What is up, guys? It's Bachman here again. This is going to be part 4 of the mini race quad build. As you can see, I've been working on it a little bit. Let me adjust this a little better. There you go. I've done quite a bit of stuff to it since you guys have last seen it. Obviously, the last video was the parts unboxing. Wasn't really much of an unboxing, but you got to see the majority of what I had already purchased. There's going to be more stuff purchased. I've found some interesting things, and I'm just going to go over what I've done to it, basically, and what the next steps will be. So as you can see it now, the rear plastics are on it. They're not perfect, but they're about the best that I'm going to put forth effort-wise, because restoring plastics 100% takes a very long time. I guess I will, yeah, I'm going to take you off the tripod and then, walk you around it, show you that, and then show you the table of everything else. I'll see you guys in a second. So as you can see here, the front end is off, and I have the, jack stands underneath it. I'd taken off all the spindles and the brake system in the front and everything. That's been cleaned up, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. But yeah, you can see the front end's all stripped. Tie rods are both just hanging out the side for right now. Front end, I mean, this is actually in really good shape. You can see I actually have to put quite a bit of force into turning this piece, so there's no play in the front end. I washed out the gas tank and everything in the last actual video of you seeing this. Other than the plastics being on there, I've put the rubber foot pegs back on the actual pegs, and I've mounted the brackets underneath. The little rubbers that are in the brackets are not there, and I don't feel like purchasing them, so they've been zip tied. And I mean, zip ties are cheap, so they can break 20 times for all I care. The brake pedal has been put back on along with the linkage that goes back. The wiring that has been routed for the most part. And then I had mounted the plastics on there. Pull the sheet off. I didn't have it clipped in, just so you guys know. It's not broken. Plastics are in it. The fuse wire and the positive side lead for the battery is in there. I have to run the ground wire for the other side of the battery, but I'm going to worry about that more towards when it's getting finished and actually needs battery. Other than that, the rear has been reassembled, which was the little seal in the end of the brake cover here. The brake cover is welded and it's repainted because that hole that was in it, and then I just put the rear back in and hooked the brakes up. This is the spot for the parking brake that I have eliminated. I'm not going to need that, so that's a couple pounds of weight that's not needed anymore. I'm going to have to put a vent tube on the rear. Other than that, that's basically what's been done to the quad itself. You can see the plastics are not perfect. They got scuffs and scratches in it from me scraping on it with a razor blade, but they look a lot better. I went over it with a torch, and they came out decent. So the majority of the top side of the fender here anyway is going to be covered with a black vinyl number plate background, so you won't see the tops of the fenders. You're only going to see the back of them and like the footboards and stuff like that, so you won't see too much of that. Front fenders are going to try and get a little nicer. I haven't worked on those, but I have made the airbox lid. It's not finished, but I have started it. So on to the table over here. The motor's still sitting there. All I've done is pulled the wiring and the stator and stuff out of it and pulled the cam chain off. I have not split the cases yet. Haven't needed to. I haven't felt like I needed to work on the motor yet. I want to get the rest of the quad basically finished, so that way when I have time to do the motor, I'm just going to do the motor in a matter of a weekend or so, and then when it's done, I can slap it in the quad, hook up all the wiring and stuff, put fuel to the carburetor, break it in, and ride it. So that's the plan for that. So the motor is going to be the last thing. Oh, I'm sorry. Engine is going to be the last thing to go in the quad again. Here we have some painted parts. Sorry about this lighting. I got 2 front hubs. They were in good shape. Bearings and seals and everything are okay. I cleaned them up and painted them. There's the front brake, or the shifter. Thumb throttle has been repainted. These are the hardwares for the front end. It has the little, the rubber washer bushing things. That is a number plate bracket that I made for the rear. It's a bit too short, so with that piece of aluminum there, I have to make some tabs that'll come off of that, and then mount to the fender mount bolts in the rear. Sorry, I can't speak. That's the carburetor cap, and then the intake. The starter was completely pulled apart, cleaned. The brushes were cleaned and filed a little bit, and then I painted it and reassembled it. That was kind of a pain in the ass. It took me about 2 hours because the brushes were super tiny. And then there's the drive shaft yoke. You guys already seen all those. Those are the seals and the brakes for the front end. I got a carburetor kit, so I chalked that $14 onto the list. This is the actual kit itself. This jet right here is not the proper thread pitch, so that does not fit. Out of everything else in the carburetor kit, everything else fits except for that jet. So I'm just going to reuse the main, that's the main jet. I'm just going to reuse the main jet. But yeah, that, and then it came with those gaskets and that O-ring. So other than that, I'm going to have to glass bead my carburetor because you can still see all that white deposit in there. I cleaned this carburetor for about 2.5 hours, scrubbing it and soaking it in gas and all kinds of cleaners. It just didn't work. The bowl itself of the carburetor came out a little better, but it's still not great. So we're just going to glass bead it and hope we can get all those glass beads out. This is all front brake stuff, not very fancy. I got the majority all my hardware laid out and ready. I'm gonna have to get new. Some of these don't look bad. These are lug nuts. Some of them don't look bad. Like that looks pretty good, but some of them are starting to round corners off and stuff. So I'll probably just get all new stainless ones. For the most part, I'm using all used hardware or stuff that was already on the quad. These Phillips heads and stuff for the cases, I'm definitely going to switch out with Allen heads because I hate those. And then this is all the front brake stuff. That's all ready to be reassembled. These are the front, the handlebar clamp with the bolts. That is cleaned up and ready for powder coat. I've kind of fell back on some of the powder coating stuff that I want to do. Instead of powder coating, for the most part, I'm going to only powder coat a handful of things for the engine and then like the clamp for that and probably the clamps for the throttle mount and the brake mount and stuff like that, but nothing major. This is all that's really on the table. Here's the throttle assembly, and then the airbox lid's been shaped and drilled, but it's not perfect yet. I still have to work on the corners and stuff like that. Have all the cables down there and the handlebars. Handlebars are going to be replaced, obviously. Over here, I have everything soaking. It's the front brake plates, the head, and the baffle for the exhaust. The exhaust is going to be placed back on it temporarily, the stock one, just because the exhaust that I'm purchasing for it is going to cost a good amount, and I don't want to add that into the build budget unless I decide to take the other route and do the custom build exhaust. So that's that. Other than that, just been a lot of paint. I built a small 1/2-inch spacer to go underneath the handlebar clamp to add a little bit of height. These are the rear hubs. Those have been primered. The front spindles, those are in primer. If you can see that terrible orange peel, I have no idea what the hell happened, but it did the same thing for my front brake assembly, so I'm going to have to repaint that throttle cover again along with my front brake assembly. And then there's the fender mounts. As usual, I mean, it's the same thing you see in the last video. I'm not trying to make this too played out and boring and me rambling and whatnot, yada yada yada. But yes, that is what we are working with currently. And then part 5, yeah, part 5 will be up hopefully pretty soon once I get some more parts and maybe get some stuff reassembled here. Shop's pretty squeezed together here. I'm only working in a limited amount of space. I don't even have the vise on a bench. It's on the floor, so you can see what I'm dealing with here. But yeah, that is the part 4 for the build for now. I will catch up with you guys another time, and hope you enjoyed this one. If there's any questions about this quad, which I've had somebody ask me a question over Facebook about what year it is. The exact year of it is in 1987. I don't know if I said that in the other videos. I think I said something along the lines of I thought it was in 1987. The years in the manual... Oh, by the way, I got the manual in the mail. The years in the manual are from 1985 to 2008. Now, why they say it's from 2008 is because they made the YFM 80 Moto 4, the Badger, and the Raptor 80. This, in the picture, is the Badger. That is clearly not the Badger. They share the same rear fenders and seat and gas tank. Everything else other than wheel size and engine displacement is basically completely different. With that also being said, their engines from, what is it? I think it's 89 and up were all 3 speeds. This is a 4-speed. I seen something on a Yamaha website that said that they had taken the 4th gear out because they said it was just geared a little bit too high for kids. So I think I'm going to have a little bit more fun with this than I would if I were to got a Raptor 80. They say it's about 10 mile an hour faster top speed than a Raptor 80 stock, like stock to stock comparison. So if I can do a little bit of performance to this versus a performance Raptor 80, it's still technically a little bit faster. And this is also just going off of what people are saying online. So I have no personal idea. But hopefully it will cart me around pretty good. It's still no suspension, so I'm not going to be jumping it 30-40 feet, but I'll probably hop it around here and there. But enough of me rambling. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please stay tuned for the next one, and like, comment, subscribe. If there's any suggestions that I could do other than video quality, yes guys, I'm aware it's not the greatest video quality, but I do with what I can do with. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm out of here.